Today, I'm going to be talking about a new meta base that works perfectly for solos, duos, or trios and should be taking the game by storm. Just to give you an example, this base has existed on a server for 3 weeks. I'm right by launch site, as you can see, and worse yet, I've got a major clan off to my right. This is about an 8-man clan, and it gets worse. Off to my left, I've got another clan. So I'm in between 2 clans and by launch site, and this base has been raided twice. No one's gotten any loot from me, and all I've had to do is replace 2 doors. So what's the trick? What is the secret? And why does this base look so weird? Well, I'm gonna get into all of that, but first, have you hit the subscribe button on this channel? Because if you haven't, I wanna give you a fact that's gonna make you feel a little bit closer to me and maybe convince you to hit the subscribe button. Every video I film, I'm butt naked. That's right, folks. Now that you know what you're working with, hit that subscribe button and let's get into the video. So first off, the reason why this base is so successful is mostly because it is a stability bunker base. So this is a stability bunker that I'm building right here in a build server. You can see you've got that small triangle that's lowered, 2 triangles that are raised, and then you've got just a lowered block behind it. What I'm going to be able to do now is I'm going to be able to put a half wall down right here, as I'm doing right now. Then you can put a triangle right down here, upgrade that triangle basically to stone or whatever you want to do. And now to destroy that triangle piece, all you've got to do is blow away this little half wall. So if you have a sleeping bag inside, you spawn into the sleeping bag, blow away your half wall, and then the floor collapses and you're good to go. As you can see right here, the base was raided, but they only got 3 doors in because they blew out 3 doors, and they didn't even bother going under this bunker because it would take too much to just get into. There was nothing worthwhile in there anyways, but as you can see, the bunker did work. Now, if you're wondering how hard it is to close up a bunker, this is all you've got to do. Every time you log off, you put down this half wall. You can flip it around. If you flip it around now, it's only going to take a few rock hits to break. Jump up into your door, that's sort of your raised foundation. You don't even need a door here, to be honest. And then you just put down your triangle floor and upgrade it to stone, metal, or whatever you want, and that's all you've got to do. Every time you log off, you do that, and you're pretty much protected from a lot of offline raids because they're going to get a few doors in and decide it's just not worth it. Now, what else have I done to make this base unraidable? Because let's face it, bunker bases do get raided, stability bases do get raided. A lot of people think that they're worth it. Well, as you can see right here, base that I'm building is very awkward. It's very weird. A lot of people looking at it are going to have no idea what it is. And in addition to that, I'm building the space right off the bat. So these are the strategies that I use. Right on the sort of creation of a server, I build a base, and I build my final form base right off the bat. This isn't going to be a big base. It's just going to be a 2x2. The 2x2 is going to be locked behind a stability bunker, and then we've got a weird triangle bump out. In addition to this, I'm going to use a bunch of half walls, so it's going to be 1 wall and a half wall tall. And what this does is it creates a very awkward base, especially with this raised foundation. So what's going to happen is now, this base does look ridiculous. Everybody's going to come in here and tell me it's an extremely simple base to raid, but it's only simple if you know exactly what this base looks like. Looking from the outside, you're going to see a base that has a bunch of raised foundations, some non-raised foundations. It's going to have half walls and walls. It's going to have 1 foundation in a weird place that's raised, and a raider is really not going to have any idea what to do with it. In addition to this, this base has not been built out since I built it initially. Everything's stone and that's it. So what this base really does is it uses the raider's intuition against them. When a raider's looking for a base to raid, they're looking for something that's going to be profitable. If they see a base that hasn't built out in a while, they think that might not be profitable. So raiders who know this area, who've been by this area a few times, by the time they might have enough boom to raid a potential bunker base, they probably have seen this base not grow, and they're thinking someone abandoned this base and eventually it's going to be decaying. I'll just come by when the walls are decaying, blow one out, and see what's inside. In addition to that, if they're coming around and they see these raised foundations, they probably have some sort of clue that there's a stability bunker. With the walls being 1.5 walls high, that also means that there might be some honeycombing going on, which means they're probably not just going to blow in the top. So they're looking at this and they're trying to figure out the best way to get in, and it really does just become the doors. And when you've got a stability bunker, when you've got multiple raised foundations, there's even the potential there for like multiple stability bunkers. If you really go around and analyze the space, you will be able to tell that there's only 1 stability bunker that could be possible, but a lot of raiders aren't going to do that. They're just going to take these precursory looks and they're going to realize it's just not worth their time because next door there's a better base. So what this base does is simple. It just takes a very basic few concepts, combines them, and creates a unique base. If you're using these meta bases that you find on YouTube, they are a lot of fun. It can be more interesting. It can give you some really cool build ideas and build tools, But a lot of people are going to know about those bases. They're going to know the easiest way to raid them. And sure, the TC might be 10 million explosives away, but maybe the first loot room is only a couple explosives away. They blow into that loot room, they see what's there, and then they decide if they want to go further. With the base like I just showed, they don't know where the TC is, they don't know where the loot room is. So the first strike into the base, they might end up inside a honeycombed area. They might end up inside an airlock or a part of the base that just isn't used. Maybe you blow in and you get a bunch of empty furnaces, and that just sucks, or you blow into an airlock. They don't know exactly what's inside, so they're probably not willing to risk the boom, at least not initially, and that's why the base has lasted so long. Clans will eventually get the tools to blow through a base, and if you know exactly what's going on the inside of this base, you will know that it's going to be super easy to raid. You can literally just blow out a foundation inside, especially in this iteration that I'm showing you. But a lot of people don't know that, and if they don't know that, they're afraid of what's inside, and they're not willing to take a risk until they have a lot of boom, which means that you can last well into a wipe. One other thing I did here is, since I'm a solo player, I used key locks. If you're using door locks and you're solo, or door codes and you're a solo player, you're playing the game wrong. You should always be using key locks because that indicates you're solo, and when people see a solo or they see those door locks, they know that the base is likely to have less loot than a base that has code locks on it. So code lock base is going to be picked before mine, and I think that's part of the reason too. Early on, a group did come through and raid a bunch of my neighbors, but they didn't stop at my base and a few other bases that just used those key locks. So if you're a solo player, make sure you're using key locks, and no matter how big your group is, make sure that you leave a small footprint behind. Have another forward base that you're operating out of, and then go back to this base only a couple times every session. What this does is it shows that there's really not that much activity and gives the impression that the base is decayed. If you want to do a sort of like 200 IQ move, you can actually let the base decay a little bit. What I'm talking about is take just a couple points off that block, off those blocks, so it looks like when someone's looking at the base that maybe it's like 490 health out of 500. And what this means is likely the base is decaying. So someone who's just come by once, they're going to see that and they're going to be like, nah, this base is decaying. It's not worth it. There's probably no good loot inside. Someone who comes by twice, they're going to see that the base is like still decaying, and they're going to know something's off. But probably initially they're going to think that it's just someone who like ran into the space, set up a very basic thing, and that's it. Like sometimes the doors break first. Someone will go in, throw down their own doors, set up a TC, and then they'll log off. There might be one dude in a hazmat suit and a gun who just jumped into the server, got lucky, threw some doors on, and that's it. That's the game for him. That's his session. So people won't want to raid that. After a couple of go-throughs, people might start to get interested in it, and then they might raid it, especially if they watched a video like this and they know what I'm talking about and they know what I'm saying, recommending you do. So this might not even be the best strategy, but there's a lot of things like this that you can use to make the base look decayed. You don't want to build the perfect base, you want to build an imperfect base, because imperfect bases are less likely to get raided. It sounds counterintuitive, and a lot of people who really do like the Rust meta and the game of building the bases that take the most explosives to get to the bottom of, they're not going to like what I just said, because what I'm saying is basically you don't need to bother at all and just build something shitty, but a lot of the time that does work. Anyways, let me know down in the comments what you think about this video. I know there's going to be a lot of debate and a lot of discussion about why I'm wrong, but I really do think this is the way to go. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that this base has been around for 3 weeks should show that these bases do work. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.